Back to your Yankees Latest. I'm your host, John Laloggia. Off day yesterday. Yanks back at it today. Tampa Bay, 7:35 Eastern start. Rodon on the bump, 12-7, 3.25 ERA. Should be good to go. Over Baz, right-hander, 8-9, almost a 5 ERA. So I really like the Yankees' chances. They should hopefully take two from the Rays before their 4-game set with Boston. I expect them to win those games. They're coming off a sweep on St. Louis, so it should be good. I want to talk about Max Fried a little bit. I'm a little concerned. Obviously, he got the win the other day, but gave up 7 runs, or just not great. And what's happening is his spin rate continues to go down, and I can't help but wonder if it's this lingering blister that he's dealing with. He's become, the ace after, Cole went down, and they're really depending on this guy. But just a huge drop in his performance. He looked unhittable early in the season, a 2.43 ERA by the All-Star break. He was 11-3, 113 strikeouts, 33 earned runs, but then had this sort of lingering blister. He first got it in 2018 on his finger, and then it really, obviously really affected him quite a bit. His July starts have been terrible. He has over a 10 ERA against the Pirates, 5.4 ERA against the Marlins, 7.20 against the Phillies. Since July 1st, 41 innings pitched, 49 hits, 31 earned runs, a 6.80 ERA. And it's been a problem. Here's the thing. If he's not healthy, put him on the IL. Kyle Tucker is doing this in Chicago. He's definitely been hurt for a month, and he hasn't gone on the IL for a related finger issue. Not a blister, but a finger issue. Just go on the IL. You're really hurting your team. I know he feels like they need him, and obviously they do, but you're doing your team a disservice if you're going out there. And, in his 4 recent starts, he has an ERA over 7 with 21 earned runs and 4 home runs in only 27 innings. So I think it's a selfish move. If you're not healthy, don't go out there. You're in a pennant race. You're right on the Red Sox heels. He's going to pitch against them this weekend, so I really hope he's healthy. But it's going to be a huge test for him to see if he can pitch and pitch effectively. But I'm concerned. There's still a month and a half left of the season left. There is time to put him on a 10 or 15-day IL if you can do it. 15 days because there'll be 2 starts. So I think you do it. I mean, if this is an issue that you can't fix and it's obviously a problem, then, he's not helping the team win. Take the time off. You have actually some time at your disposal. So go ahead and give him the time off. But I'm concerned about him and have been for a while. Stanton has been incredible. So he plays outfield for 3 days in a row, but his body has just been so ravaged with injuries over the years. He just could not, it just takes so much out of him. And you see on social media a lot of times people ripping this guy because he's not being able to run to first base. He really can't. I mean, he can barely move his body. But he has tremendous power. He's been hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He has an OPS over 900 because his slug has just been out of this world. And what you're also starting to see, too, is some of those balls on the outer half of the plate, he's starting to flip those to right field. And if he's doing that, he's very, very difficult to get out because that is one of his biggest Achilles heel, that breaking ball from a right-hander down and away that he just can't seem to hit and can't seem to lay off. But he's been absolutely incredible, but his body is just letting him down. So I think I give him a lot of credit for playing the outfield 3 days in a row when he just can't move anymore. And I've made fun of him too for not being able to run to first base without getting hurt, but he's been so ravaged with injuries his whole career. You need him at the plate to hit the ball hard and hit the ball out of the ballpark, but he's been absolutely fantastic and really carrying this team offensively. Someone who's not carrying this team offensively is Judge. This is a huge problem. I don't think he's healthy. I think it's still an issue with the flexor strain. And I don't know what you do because you really need Stanton in the DH slot. But, I mean, if Judge can't play the field, you have to have him DH. But at the same time, if he's not producing and Stanton is, you run the risk of Stanton getting injured, putting him out in the field if Judge can't throw because of his elbow. So if Judge isn't healthy, this team isn't going anywhere. They're not making any legit or substantial run. Obviously, I think we all agree on that. But I don't know if he's totally healthy. Stanton, too, is going to miss some time. So, we'll get into it with lingering low body soreness. That's one of the reasons he just can't run. But I don't think Judge is healthy, and I think if he's not hitting, that's a huge problem. Who cares if he can't play the field as long as he's producing offensively, and he's not. And I just think it's concerning. I know this team just swept, and I'm not trying to be a downer here, but you're going to play the Rays, and you're going to play a very, very good Red Sox team. You need to be ready to go, and you need to be healthy. So I just not exactly sure what's going on there. I just hope he is healthy. But I'm concerned because if he's not hitting, this team is going absolutely nowhere, and I think we all agree. I want to recap some injuries. So, like I said, Stanton, low body soreness. He was out of the lineup for a third consecutive day on the 17th. And then manager, Boone was, the 18th is an off day. And just because of the expansive Busch Stadium outfield variables, led to the decision. He's adamant that Stanton will not require an IL stint. Obviously, the off day should help, but we'll see what his, the problem is, Judge can't play the field. But you got to put Stanton in the lineup as a DH, so I don't really know what you do there. And he's not hitting the ball well. Or you make Stanton a DH, don't put him on the IL if you can go with this low body soreness, and then maybe put Judge on the 10-day IL again if the flexor is really an issue. You know what I mean? At least for the couple games in Tampa. I feel like those are winnable games, or versus Tampa. I think those are winnable games, and then have him back for the Boston series. I think that's a way to go around that. Another injury, Ahmed Rosario, left joint sprain. Should be back sometime in late August. He did some pre-work in St. Louis a couple days ago, fielding balls in the outfield, taking some swings. They're hopefully he could come back with minimal time on the IL, which would be a huge addition. Fernando Cruz, someone they really, really need back, him and Yarborough. He allowed 2 runs on a 21 in a pitch outing in AAA Scranton a couple days ago. So hopefully, possibly before August 19th, he should be activated, which is, essentially maybe today or tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Yarborough. They need this guy back so bad. Just depending on Fried's finger and his blister. This guy is great in the bullpen. He also can start. But he worked 3 innings, 37 pitches a couple days ago in AAA Scranton. Allowed just 1 run on 3 hits with 3 strikeouts. So they have a plan to build him up to 50 pitches before potentially activating him. So that should be good news for them. That's been your Yankees Latest. I'm your host, John Laloggia. Join me tomorrow as I recap the first game of the Rays series, and I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.